Everybody, it's Patrick at the pitch deck. We have our very first road to national for the season. It's going to be the 4 Horsemen road to nationals in Morgantown, West Virginia. We are local towards the one in Pittsburgh, but they don't have one this year. So we have our very first opponent as an AB3 Levia. And we chose to go first. We won the die roll because usually Levias come with AB1 SV4, so it's a little bit easier for us to push damage first on our turn. So we can just chip damage. Even though they cycle through, Levia has a struggle to get the graveyard filled up quite quickly. So there's a lot of things that we can do just to be able to chip them down, especially if it's just AB3. So here she'll just take 2 damage and we get to opt a little bit. So we're going to see the 2 cards on top, and it's Ether Arc plus a Blazing. I can shoot either one of those. However, I am not keen on letting her filter even more. It doesn't even matter. She had just AB2 it or AB1 it, and there's no damage. She'll just change out a card that she might not like. Which is a lot of the time at the beginning, the Levia is struggling to get her cards of Blood Debt that need graveyard shenanigans and just move it on out of the way and turn it in for later. But we keep the quickening on top. We want to keep a blue for our turn. So here we'll just pocket this Tome of Findal for our power turn later on. Pretty nice hand of just 4 blues plus a yellow spindle. So she'll be sending just a CNC for 6. Generally not all that threatening. We do want to protect this arsenal. So we're probably just going to block out here and send this spindle. But she's going to pass. Here we're sending spindle like we wanted for 4, get a little bit of chip. And we get to opt a little bit more down into our deck, as it might be probably beneficial to see if we can find some potions later on. Potions are always nice towards a high AB matchup. I'm always one of the ones that I like yellow spindles over booms for sure. So she's going to take 3 damage and only prevent 1, so we'll opt 3, so this is good for us. So like before I mentioned, we're going to bottom the boom and keep the spindle, the red spindle on top. But it is worth to note that this Levia does have pummels in her deck, which she will discard off of this Wreck-A-Romp here. So she's going to pitch it and then discard the only card that she has, which is a red pummel. It is quite interesting to see Levia to have a red pummel rather than just a blue. So even the CNC, if I blocked it out, there could be the possibility of CNCs also getting pummeled, which is crazy. But we're just going to take 6 here because we're just going to gain 5 back anyways and get a whole bunch of tempo along with it. So we're going to have Tunic to 3. We could just gain that 6 back, but I'd rather keep my options slightly more open. I may need the Tunic later on. Like I might strip so much cards out of her hand. And I do have a lesson in my hand, so that could be the arsenal, and I can draw up to 3 blues plus a wildfire, who knows, type of thing. And it's always just worth just to go ahead and get the extra value later rather than now for the Tunic. Go ahead and banish off the top. Using the Ether Arc. Ether Arc's really nice, but not right now. Blazing. Potion, we don't mind for later.
Hey, we got a hit.
We decide on certain things. It's nice that the Four Horsemen had some really good pricing along with the costs of the RTN. The RTN was like 25 bucks, and you get like a pack per win with 2 packs in the door, which is really cool. But then they spread out towards the top 8 was really nice. Like the winner got 2 boxes. First, second place got 1 box, and the rest of them got like 8 packs each. That's really cool that they spreading around the pack love. So here we're just gonna shoot out the ether arc and test the water slightly. We don't need the ponder, but it's nice if she gave it to us. So here we're gonna go ahead and banish off the top. Still 2 floating. This is a blue spindle, and there's the possibility of just shooting 2 because we can just use the Tunic Plus lesson for the Kano banish, maybe. She would give us another card, and then Blazing would still be online. So maybe I should have went for lesson, or maybe even spindle and then pocket lesson. So she's just gonna AB2 it out of the way. So yeah, that was kind of not exactly sure what my thinking was. I could probably just do it like that, and then probably the consideration was to keep my options open for lesson Tunic, but I don't even do that here. So yeah, she has 1 floating anyway, so she would have still AB3'd it. Fine. Yeah, we're just pitching a crew, but it could have been fine. It's whatever. The result would have been the same, but I would have not have known that later on. We'll pass with a red spindle. Worth to note that the Blazing was pitched. Or sorry, Blazing was banished, not pitched. That means if we go to first spindle combo, it's gonna be a little rough. She is not wide open. She does have the card in her hand, and that was from Arsenal for the Endless Maul, which is fine. Like I can literally just block 6 here and then send spindle. Kind of play the chipping game, and she's gonna be clear on blood debt, which is good for her. She can still send 9 and clear out her blood debt to actually give a good attack. But I'm actually considering blocking, there's 2 potions. I'm blocking 3 and taking 6. So that way I can potentially go with a bigger turn off of the spindle. With more cards in hand, spindle becomes a little bit more dangerous because I can potentially combo more off of the top. Usually a spindle for 5 isn't crazy if it's the only card in my hand, or like the only thing that I'm sending. So even though we have 2 potions, it's not much more on the potions bit that we were trying to find. It's because we're seeing 2 potions now. Maybe 3, so we're just like normal. Get a blue from her. And it's nice to kind of mix it up a little bit for the opponent to keep them guessing on what I'm going to be putting in my arsenal, since I'm putting stuff in my arsenal that's different. So I'm actually considering here for the blues to be maybe get lucky with like a wildfire, but it's a pretty low chance just to IP myself with the potion here. But we see a red flare, which would have been like 2 blues plus a blue in my hand plus a red flare, which isn't bad along with lesson, but it could be a little bit rough when you need to go for combo because it's less impactful for AB3. I want her to go down a little bit more. So we decided to keep it on top because what I can do is she doesn't have another graveyard, so she doesn't have any agility tokens, anything like that to go again. So probably just an attack for 6. I can actually block 6 and send the lesson and find wildfire and pocket this flare instead. If it gets to be too crazy, I can just send the Tunic in, but then I just get blocked. See, like this, we're gonna just block with the extra flare plus the blue because we'd rather have the lesson back into our deck if we need it. So a lesson for the lessons, we should be good on that front. It's not guaranteed that I'll get Wildfire off the top, but we're still banking on the fact that maybe she'll let us have it. So AB3 allows us only to potentially get the Wildfire.
One card in hand.
Pitch to grass, making 2.
Tutor on damage equal to damage.
Even then, if it was like a 1 cost, we can still go with something a little bit more impactful for the turn. It could be blazing, things like that. Although it's not great to search blazing off of the lesson because you kind of want it to be off the top with potential flare turns, but you basically want the flare to be stripping cards from her hand. But she does actually have a big turn here, so we got lucky, and we're gonna take that Wildfire chance here. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. We're gonna have to take a lot of damage if she lets us have the full value of lesson. We're gonna have to take a lot of damage to be able to clear out the flare. However, it's also good for us at the same time. Like, it's bad and good at the same time because flare needs full hand to work really well to be able to strip cards and give us space on our Wildfire to go back in our arsenal. On the flip side, on her turn, she can still open herself up if she's not careful, like too much. If a flare and Wildfire to be able to use combo, it doesn't matter. So here she's going to banish the Centipede, Shadow Centipede, which is good because you can use that same card off of the Art of War turn. So she's going to draw 2 cards plus go again. That's the usual thing. I think she used a blue. Was it blue or red? Can't tell what she pitched from here. She doesn't have anything floating, which I think it's red. I'm just thinking on the discard trigger or potential damage. However, it's not a really good hand to combo off anyways. So we kind of got some rough cards in her hand. So she does have a blue, which is interesting. But she has Doomsday, and it's pitching for the go again to have the claws to be turned on because she can't discard, which means she might have blood debt cards in her hand and or arsenal, meaning that she can't go everything go again type of things. Like, it's not a wide enough turn, so we're just gonna take 3. It's not that big of a deal to take 3 here. You always want to see what is the turn going to be. She still has go again on her next attack action card, the very first one. So she still turned off blood debt, but I think that's the only blood debt card that was in her banish zone. So now it doesn't even matter. So this is 4/6 go again. Not exactly sure her tunic. She was missing her tunica triggers a lot. That's what she mentioned. So I think she still has that at 3. I think she caught it to 3. She caught a few turns of it. So, I'm still needing a full hand to kind of like go off with the flare play. Grab some cards and put this Wildfire into arsenal. And it could change up a little bit if I were to go with a block on the next one, because this does have go again. So if it were like another 6 or another pretty impactful attack, I don't think it'd be too great to do anything with it. So probably I would just do it might be something where I'm only blocking 1 card instead of 2 and still sending the not the Wildfire, sorry, the flare. I'd still be sending the flare, but probably blocking a little bit. So that way it's not too crazy. But here we send the flare like we want to. He does have a pretty sizable graveyard, but He's only taken one here, which Flare sucks at that point. It's a little rough.
Okay, 1 second.
So we are going to go ahead and Kano off the top here. See Gaze. Pretty good because we have a 1 cost in our hand. We try to guarantee that there's a 1 cost
1,
on top.
2,
Kind of like make it mesh pretty well. But then we see Ether Arc or Tome, which allows us to... Either option's good, but then we're stuck with Tome next turn in our hand if we go with like... We have to overpitch and then have our Tome stuck in our hand on combo turn, which is not the best. It can work, but it's kind of left up to RNG. So we'll just draw the Tome and hopefully 2 blues.
I'm banish on Kano. Drawing 2 cards. 1.
So go with those, and we do hit 2 blues, which is good.
Just 8. Just walk with less than 2 cards a game. Go good.
And off the top again. This is the 0 cost that we want. We can still kind of like continue our turn if we need to, but this is a free opt. If she give me 1 more card, and you know I'll continue my turn type of thing. She does have the agility token for next turn because she discarded it, so she's gonna have to make the use of the agility token. We got to get a free opt. We're gonna use that anyways. Might as well draw another 2 cards while we're at it.
Kano off the top. Pitching this. Drawing 2.
We'll draw up 2 more cards here. I have Ophidia with us. I could just stop here. There's consideration to not use but she's content on letting me opt, which is fine. It's not like major for any type of hidden messages of her upcoming turn. We're gonna opt 2 off here. We see a flare plus scolding, so it's not too crazy. We can like just shoot the scolding if we cared with the lesson, which is not great. I mean, I'd rather have the guaranteed line of blazing with the lesson if I did anything.
This is the opt right here.
Check graveyard really quick for potentials that I could get if I bottom. Flare doesn't really work if there's nothing behind it as well, so it's not the best. Even if I'm just shooting it, it's not crazy, so I think I'm just going to be bottoming both.
And then it's gonna
I'll leave it up to for the banish, and we see another tome.
I'll draw 2 cards as well.
Oh, she's over here laughing, having a good time. Nice to see somebody not take RTNs too crazy seriously. People would just be sometimes exasperated with Kano. But unfortunately, we kind of get stuck with this coming in for 2. It's not too crazy. Or like damage-wise, you know, forcing some more cards out of her hand.
I even get the full counter for 2.
Yeah.
I hit 3 counters and then it was just like, oh, I have all the resources, I guess I'm off.
Yeah. Goes up with 3. Oh, I should put these away first. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm still going with mine.
So we'll go ahead and put Wildfire there.
Floating because of spring tuner. And at the start of my turn, agility pops, meaning my
So this will
next
pop.
attack this turn gets going.
It's the start of turn. We can't really respond to it.
I'm going to then
It's like Tunic trigger, counters, and stuff like that. But she can do Tunic, which I might have missed. I think I missed it a little bit. Yeah, so she was just pointing to the Tunic, which is fine. It's at that point it's okay. Like maybe it could have been probably been better to claw first with 1 floating, then Tunic. Here we're just getting this for 3. Go again. I think we're getting down to the lower levels of our life here. It's not looking too good. We got some life to spare, which is one of the things that we're considering. Our hand is not bad either, even though we kind of IP'd ourselves with the blazing. It was just one of those things we can hold on to because our hand was awkward. I didn't really want to overpitch. We can use it if anything.
And I have freezing down here on the banish as well. Look at that too.
Knowing when to IP kind of takes a little bit of time. Look, when you start getting lower in life, you're gonna just maybe hold on to it. But yeah, we just take 3 here.
Remaining 2 resources to play. Dread Screamer for 6.
We got Dread Screamer coming in for 6.
Banish 3 random cards. If it 6 or more banishes play, it go again. I would like to pick.
This is a red one. Yeah, this one's coming in. This one's coming in for 6 for sure.
Get a hold of them. They're all hits. So
It does gain go again off of.
but this now has go.
I do not believe there's anything floating, so there's only. We can just assume that there's going to be Claw with the Dread Screamer is coming up. Before I take this, we can try to see about what her next go again would be, because she did go with the turn before with the Shadowpede off the Art of War go again, and she used Shadowpede go again without having a good go again afterwards. So it was wasted instead of getting 1 extra damage from either +1 selected. That's the only other play that you can go with the Art of War. So it's kind of a wasted go again. So it's kind of maybe a little bit telling to do if we do it again now. We're not dead if we get smacked twice. I think. I can't remember the life totals. I know we're not dead now. We're at 11. Okay, so if this is followed up by another 6, then we are dead. But she's at 24 right now. We take this and we still go with the plan of we want to see what she does with the rest of her play.
And off we go again. Oh, that has 2 plays. Slitting Shadowpede for 6. 2 resources floating.
Being that we're at 5, even if we were to block this,
You're gonna do Kano.
it's not crazy to go with the fact that she can threaten lethal. It's pretty bad. We would have to strip a card from her hand, and then she had to threaten lethal with us. But she does know Arsenal, so that is pretty good for us. She would have to take a massive amounts of damage next turn because we do have a Sonic Boom. This doesn't block. We can change a little bit of our direction, which maybe it's not the right decision here. Because then if we have to double block, we can't go with a major attack next turn. We can block with Blazing and then maybe use the Gaze here, which is what I'm considering. Just use the Gaze to fix what we are going to banish into, or the 1 damage that will probably go through because of AB3, and then another damage which you may just let go through, which is probably 2 damage if it's like some type of major damage coming in. Whatever would be on top, 1, 2, or 3 because of the 1 cost. We still have Tunic up, so the A2 cost can be paid for next turn. So there's all these considerations. She's on 24, so the reason why I'm thinking is 24 is not a great number because she'll be left on 1 because of Blazing is a 33 damaging combo. If I get full pumps with like a 0 cost. 0 cost plus Blazing. And then a blue on top, of course. And I can see that with the Gaze, which is another consideration. I can probably see a blue plus a really good combo ender here. But to do that, I need to commit cards. And then I need to be sure that I can kill her with this combo. I can't just do what I need to do and survive. I need to be able to find off what's the top of the card. Everything. There's a lot of decisions here.
I'm not concerned at all.
But it depends on if I can probably like pump into the spell as well. So there's a lot of consideration. Wildfire coming in for 6. means it's going to drop it down to 4, which if I can node the 0 cost, like 1 damage spell, it'll go up for 5 up to 6, and then that's going to be 10 right there, and then blazing would be 14 because you've already taken 10 plus the additional 4, which is exactly lethal, I think, because of the tunic being a thing. Yeah, because that would give me nodes. Or a 1 cost.
Stone Shriders. Crucible.
This is the blazing combo line's actually pretty good for low amounts of resources. The lowest you can go is 9, I think, for resources. So we're going here with the combo. We're going to wait before we node.
Before I get to choose to pay,
We're going to go ahead and just play this so we can see if there's anything on top. We can still send damage. So we see double blazing. So this is enough to kill. Thank the RNG gods for this one. We put it back exactly like that. We hesitate because it's the first game where we don't have the mental juices flowing. It's not necessarily, it's there, but I'm seeing it. It's just, I forgot kind of like how I'm supposed to go. So that's why I'm like walking through what I'm supposed to do. It's been a while since in paper Kano compared to Talishar. So but yeah, we're just walking through the steps. And we're going to pay into it. So it's going to be well over damage. Going to be 4, 8, and 16.
and this is coming in for 6. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna use my remaining 2 resources to negate 2 of it, taking 4. Down to 20.
But yeah, if we saw like a normals, like a dart or an ether arc, we would be exact, I think. Full pump on wildfire is 5 from Arsenal. And then the gaze would help us find the blue for the blazing that's in our hand, as well as the 0 cost, maybe, and then go from there. But we find the double blazing, so that's good enough for us. So we have these 2 coming in. One coming in for 8, and then the other coming for 16.
I have to take 8, so down to 12.
GG's to my Levia opponent. She was a pretty nice person and a pretty good sport about the entire game. Alright, we're on to round 2.